Welcome back to the Ashley Lay Real Estate Podcast. I'm Ashley Bonnet, listing specialist, here with
Heidi Christie
and
Amy Everhart.
And we are talking about the 5 decisions that sell your home.
One of the best real estate facts in this market is that homes that are selling fast are the ones that are staged, priced accurately, and photographed well in move-in ready condition.
Absolutely, Heidi. You tell sellers there's 3 pieces to selling a home. It's location, condition, and price. Well, you're not going to pick your house up and move it, so that leaves us condition and price.
Correct.
Which really translates into appropriately priced home with photos reflecting a home that is move-in ready, updated, or staged appropriately.
And even though it's spooky season, I often say we're not magicians. So no matter how great our professional photographers are, and they are phenomenal, if the home isn't looking great, if it's got worn out carpet, if it's got a lot of clutter or old furniture,
or, I'm sorry, a lot of wallpaper.
Yeah, it's not gonna translate well in those photos.
And if it does translate well in the photos, which you want to disclose everything up front because you don't want people wasting your time by booking showings and then getting to the home and deciding in the first 30 seconds it's not for them or it's too much update that's needed, then what you need to do is compensate that for that in the pricing. If you're going to keep the condition that it's in right now, then you need to get quotes on what it would cost to update it, and you need to let us run a CMA to comparable homes that have been updated, and we need to talk about that, and you need to make sure that you're compensating for it in the pricing so that it's still desirable in the market.
Right.
So I have people asking like now, our homes, you said homes that are selling right now in this market. Homes are still moving. Inventory wise, we're still in a seller's market when it comes to number of buyers versus number of sellers. However, we are not last year.
Yeah.
Where you could just stick a sign in the front yard and it's sold in 24 hours for $30,000 over list price. That craziness, right? I mean, it's gone.
That's well done.
I mean, thank you. It is gone. So now, folks, sellers, I say to sellers, I hate this for you, but we have to come down off our little throne of royalty. The market's, it's starting to be a little more fair. You're going to have to do a little more now.
Yeah. I think also in addition to that, there are houses that are expiring that buyers are rejecting in our current market. So it's not a guaranteed sale anymore. So you do have to take into consideration what buyers want. They are paying. I saw a stat yesterday that said if you bought a house last year at 2.5% interest for $600,000, you're paying the same monthly payment with today's interest rate at $375.
Wow.
So sellers have to keep that into consideration that buyers are paying so much more on their monthly payment. They don't have the wiggle room in their budget anymore to replace carpet and tear out wallpaper and update all the light fixtures. If you want top dollar, you've got to do that ahead of time.
Right. So an analogy that we are currently using when we speak with our sellers is that the market has, in essence, become a beauty contest. So when you think of it that way, you're either going to have to look amazing when you go across the stage so that you attract everybody's attention and you are the one they want to vote for, or you're going to have to bribe the judges. So what I mean by bribing the judges is you may have to get a quote for the repairs and say, we're willing to take this off the cost of the house, or we're willing to pay this vendor at closing and you pick the paint color. If you're not able to do it now, we have options for you. We have brilliant options for you because that's just the kind of people that we are. However, you're either going to have to put your lipstick on now or you're going to have to pay for the lipstick to go on later.
So one of the questions that I get are, well, can't we just tell them we'll take care of it? Or can't we just price it with that in mind?
So here's the thing. I always tell people, you can, and here's the reality. Buyers, okay, so we've got 2 kinds of buyers in this market, right? We've got home buyers who are moving in. It's going to most likely be their primary residence. And you have investors. And home buyers are the ones that are usually willing to pay more because it's going to be their home. They have the sentimental, emotional pull toward the property. Would you want to interrupt an emotional pull by making them have to envision what it could be and go, okay, now there's 5 obstacles before me and my children can move into this home? Or are you going to be appealing to investors? And what are investors looking for?
To low ball you and bottom dollar it and put as little into as possible.
They're looking for the great deal.
The other thing, my response with that question is, honestly, buyers are terrible at estimating the cost of things. So I can sit here and price your home at X dollars, but that buyer, even if he priced it with those repairs in mind, that buyer is still going to come in and think, well, you need new carpet. Great, that's $15,000 now, and it's nowhere near that. They triple, almost quadruple sometimes the cost of these repairs, whereas our seller can go ahead, knock them out, remove that objection, remove that obstacle to the buyer, and end up profiting more.
Absolutely.
So let's talk about this. What's the first thing you see when you approach a home? The yard.
Yep, outside.
So the quickest way you can make the home more appealing is, and you've got options: pine needles versus mulch. Pine needles are always the lower cost option, and it makes it look just as pretty. Please, get those shrubs and everything in a reasonable shape. Get the spider webs and the cobwebs. Do some pressure washing to the outside of the home. These are things that a lot of people have someone that they know that they can borrow a pressure washer or pressure wash your driveway. Those kind of things that might have not bothered you when you lived there, but now need to be taken care of to walk across the stage. What does it mean to stage a home? Are they coming in and replacing the entirety of your furniture?
So there's two kinds of staging that I talk about with sellers. There's the kind that I recommend that everybody do, and that's where I go through each room with that seller and go, okay, take this family photo down, move this couch into this position so you're not walking into the living room and being greeted by the back of a giant couch. Take these kind of more worn pillows out. Take down your Christmas decorations. It's February. Whatever it may be, I go through each room, and sometimes that's all you need to do is minimize, kind of take the furniture that you do have and put it in its best light. Sometimes a home needs a little bit more. Sometimes you've got a unique property that has flex spaces, and it might not be obvious what that space is intended for. And now more than ever, buyers need to know, what am I going to use this space for? Like, I'm spending my money, I'm spending more money than I want to right now. What am I going to use this space for? So if it's not obvious, like if you've got a custom built home and they wanted to use this extra space as an office, but it's currently just collecting clutter, we need to potentially consider hiring a professional stager who will come in and bring a desk and bring an area rug and set up a lamp and make it look like an office, so that a buyer walks in and they don't even have to think about it. They're just going, oh, I could see myself, working here on the weekends or whatever it is. If you don't know what that space is, it's like, well, what would I do with that room? So staging is very, very important, and every seller should do it. It just depends on the degree of what's needed, and that's where professional opinion comes in.
And it's not just with custom homes. We have several homes where folks have already moved out and it is a vacant home, and it could be a move-in ready, beautiful vacant home, but it could come off looking, what we call sometimes vanilla. And so, we had one last month. That home was gorgeous. They had spent lots in updates, but it was just empty. It was just empty. So we had it staged, and folks can now walk in and visualize themselves. Now, it photographed better. Those, as you're scrolling through the photos and you see the color from the furniture and you see the placement, the emotional response by the buyer was more significant than just walking into a big empty room.
So you just mentioned photos. So what's the difference between someone coming in and, iPhone, Samsung, whether you're iPhone or Android, they take excellent photos now. They really do. I've taken some photos that you can't tell they were taken with my phone. But when you're going on the market, when you're walking across the stage, do you want the glamour shot, or do you want,
Well, Amy, let me ask you this. You have a blow dryer, right?
Yes.
Does your hairstylist have a blow dryer?
Yes.
When you do your hair and when your hairstylist does your hair, does it turn out very differently?
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's about the knowledge and the professional ability to use the tool, which is why it doesn't matter. I have a great iPhone. My photos never look like some other people's, and I don't know if they just have better editing software or what, But when you use a professional photographer who does real estate photography as their job, they know what angles to get.
Yes.
They know the lighting to optimize the space. They know what they're looking for to help that home show its best light. Because if people don't like what they see online, they're not even going to bother coming to see it in person.
Though they also have the right camera equipment to get that wide angle lens and capture the size of that room. They also have the editing, materials to fix the lighting if it was a cloudy, rainy day or something like that. So,
yeah.
Well, we've talked about a couple things. We've talked about renovations, staging, photography. When you have a home that is set up in a position where the land is going to also add value to the house, or there is a lot that has been done to the outside, the exterior and the lot of that home, what is the one thing you could do to go above and beyond to make sure that that is taken into consideration by a buyer when they see the photos?
Drone footage. Yep.
Aerial footage, and that can make the difference as far as if you're near a park, if you're near something that is highly valued by the community and it's a great
pond,
pool,
acreage. Yep,
absolutely. We want to make sure that we're including those. Let's, for just a moment, we've gone over several things, and I can just imagine that the sellers right now are thinking, all this costs money, but that's not necessarily true, is it? We have options.
Yeah, I mean, we have programs now at Ashley Real Estate, and we'd love to talk to you and see if you might be a good candidate for those programs, where we're willing to help sellers who maybe can't afford to do some of those upfront costs like painting and carpet. So if you hire us, any of these agents sitting here, we put you first. So we want you to get top dollar. And so therefore we're willing to put our money where our mouth is and help you get top dollar. So if you're not in a position, we all know that the market is changing, and now may be the best time to sell your home in the next potentially 6 to 9 years. So don't let these things be obstacles. That's why we will sit down with you and go over your options and see what would be the best fit for you and your family.
What we don't want you to hear when we talk about professional photography and staging and minimizing and decluttering and drone footage and all these things, what we don't want you to hear is stress or overwhelm or all these other things that have to do. What we do want you to hear is a tactical plan of very practical things that you can do and that we can help you accomplish. And we have sellers who are living in different states right now. They're not here doing those things. Who do you think is taking care of it? We're helping them. It's a very practical list of things that you can do to maximize your profit and get your home sold in the quickest amount of time for the most amount of money in the most stress-free way.
Right. And we also have great vendors that we partner with who will help us get these things accomplished.
Yeah. So for me, a final thought would be, think of it this way. Sandra Bullock and Miss Congeniality, we're your coach. We're going to take you from point A to point B. We're going to get you ready to walk the stage. And you're not only going to make the honorable mention, but you're going to get top dollar. You're going to get that highest reward. But we're here to help you do that. We do not expect you to do that on your own. And our job is to empower you to the point, to empower and educate you to the point where you can confidently make a decision on how to move forward.
Thank you guys for tuning in. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and all of those goodies.